Hi, I'm very excited to talk to you about our first online fundraising auction. We've got a lot of buy-in from different organizations and individuals that have companies here in Toronto and across Ontario. Everyone's making donations to help support the Toronto Botanical Garden. On September the 19th and the 20th, we'll be going live with an online auction, providing you with some really cool material for your garden and for your home. We look forward to seeing you there. I'm going to profile some plants just so you have an idea of the exciting things that we have coming up for this auction. This is the first one we're going to look at. This is Pinus cuddles. Who wouldn't want to cuddle a little conifer like this? This is a dwarf conifer. Works great for bonsai, for your garden, and it's very slow growing. Perfect for a small lot or a small spot in your garden. One of my favorites is this little dwarf ginkgo called Ginkgo munchkins. The leaves are just about the size of your thumbnail at their biggest. This is said to make a very good bonsai and also a very good spot in your garden that you need something that doesn't get very big. At full size, this is only 2 to 3 feet and gets beautiful yellow foliage in the fall. Really nice way to add a ginkgo for a small spot. This is one of my favorites, and I might actually bid on it. This is Pinus oculus draconis, or the dragon's eye pine. It's a variegated red pine, beautiful, slow growing, and one I would definitely like to have in my garden. Make sure to put your bids in. A ginkgo that I have in my garden, one of the 7 variegated cultivars that everyone really likes in my garden. This is Ginkgo roswitha. This is a variegated ginkgo. I know, everybody wants one. They're slow growing, small spaces. They have a beautiful variegation to them. There's some stripes, yellow and gold. In the fall, they turn again that beautiful ginkgo gold. So definitely one you might want to consider from our auction. We've got a couple really nice Japanese maples. As you know, I am a big fan of Japanese maples. I've got about 30 in my front garden. This is one of them. This is Japanese maple Acer Toyama Nishiki. This is a variegated Japanese maple that gets beautiful variegations. You can actually see some branches even end up being all white with just pink splashes to them. It's a very varied variegation. Not a good Japanese maple for full sun, but great for a part sun location. It's got a cascading format to it, and I think you'd really like it. Another Japanese maple that I have in my garden, fairly new, I actually just got it last year, is Acer Sagara Nishiki. This has a really cool variegation. You can see the yellow dots all the way around the edge of the leaf. When a Japanese maple is variegated, in the fall, which is one of their swan songs, the colors vary. So you'll get orange and yellow, or orange and red, or red and yellow. All of those are options in the fall. This is one that is a particularly strong fall color and a beautiful Japanese maple. Definitely one you might want to bid on. This one is even new to me, and I might actually put a bid on it. This is Acer Lionheart. So this one is a short, dwarf, slow-growing variety that apparently gets very beautiful colors in the fall. Look it up on Google or something like that if you want to see sort of the colors that this transitions into. But it's a beautiful dissected leaf. Definitely one to consider. Another really great conifer, again, another one I have in my garden, is this pine called Tiny Curls. What this does is the needles actually twist and contort. It's a very dense looking pine in the garden. I've actually cloud pruned mine recently to make a little bit more space around it, but this is a beautiful addition. It's got a bluey cast to some of the needles and a great addition to a small garden. When we were out getting these plants for this auction, this one caught my eye from across the greenhouse. This is Larix Blue Dwarf. It's a very soft conifer. It does lose its needles in the fall after they go bright yellow. This is a compact, beautiful plant. Again, I might want to bid on it, but we'll let you bid on it as well. This is a stunning plant. Again, dwarf, compact, and great for most gardens. This one is cute, not only the plant, but also the name. This is Picea pimoko. So this is a spruce. It's very small, very compact, and very slow growing. It has beautiful blue foliage with undersides being green. Great combination for any garden. This is one that I really like. It's super cool, it's twisted, it's contorted. This is Larix Horstman's Recurved. This does get a little bit bigger, but a really, really cool form. As you can see, some of them are really doing some neat twists. This one's actually curling back around and heading back this way. I think as this grows, it's going to be a really cool addition to your garden. Make sure to place your bids. This one was new to me when I found it. Had to grab it to offer it to you guys for your gardens. This is a hawthorn, and it's dwarf. It's called Inermis compacta. It gets beautiful, beautiful white flowers, followed by berries that the birds really like. Unlike other hawthorns, this one doesn't have any thorns, making it a good addition for your garden. By now you've probably known about my love for variegated plants. This is Liquid Ambar Silver King. It's a beautiful variegated liquid ambar, stunning fall colors. So you've got great interest in the spring and summer, amazing fall color, hardy to zone 5, so definitely in our area. One to consider for your garden. It does get pretty big. Make sure you place your bids. This is one of the donations from Vineland Nurseries. This is a salmonberry, which is one I wasn't actually familiar with. It's native to the West Coast, from Alaska to California. It's got beautiful flowers and arching branches. Definitely one to consider for your garden. One that's a little bit unusual. Make sure to place your bids. Another great addition, Alarix. So we know by now those are yellow in the fall. This has beautiful form, a little bit contorted, definitely a nice one for your garden. And I would actually probably consider placing a bid myself. If you remember the tour from my garden earlier this year, or if you've read the latest Trellis magazine, Manyo no Sato is, again, one of my favorites actually. This is a fairly rare Japanese maple and not one you easily come by. It has a beautiful variegation. You can see it in some of the leaves. And as mentioned before, when they have a variegation, the fall color can be really, really pretty. So this is Acer Manyo no Sato. Make sure to watch for it. This is Acer Japonicum Fairy Lights. You will remember this. It is absolutely one of my favorites. Not so much for the summer color, but definitely for the fall color. This is one of the brightest in my garden. This is a dwarf, so this is one of those ones that only gets at full size, about 2 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. It's almost like a little hedge just in itself. One I would seriously consider looking into for your garden. This one actually got me excited when we were sourcing some plants for this auction. This is Acer Mr. Sun. This is a new cultivar, not one that anyone I know has. It is a smaller Japanese maple, great for a small space or just a small spot in a bigger garden. This has unbelievable color throughout the entire year. In the spring, it's a beautiful green. It goes to oranges and ends up ruby red. It's beautiful. Definitely one I would consider. I have to be honest, when we got this one, I got excited and I bought myself one. So this one is actually in my garden now as well. This is Acer Mikado. This is said to be a cross between the full moon maple and the palmatum, although no one's really sure. It was found as a seedling. It has beautiful, beautiful color, great form, great size, and wonderful fall color. Definitely one to consider while you're looking at our auction items. We might have to fight for this one. This is Acer Seasons of Change. There was only one of them there, and of course it had to come to the auction to give you a chance to have it in your garden. It's a fairly new cultivar. It has a beautiful reddish stem to it, which in the winter gives you that really neat winter interest. It has big leaves, bright color, and transitions from yellow to orange to red to ruby red. Definitely one to consider. It does get a little bit bigger, so this would be a nice foundation or a back plant in a garden. Something for you to bid on here at the Toronto Botanical Garden. This is Cercis chinensis, so the Chinese form of our redbud. This is Dawn Egolf, which is a really, really neat cultivar. It's compact at full size, only reaching about 6 feet tall and 8 feet wide. It's got a deep rosy colored flower that really covers the entire plant when it's flowering, and beautiful yellow foliage in the fall. It's one that I wasn't familiar with until we did source some of these for you, and it's one that I'm seriously considering finding a spot for in my garden. This is another variegated liquid ambar. This is liquid ambar gold dust, so you can really see some of the variegation on the leaves. Again, amazing, amazing fall color. A really neat cultivar to try for your garden. This is Ginkgo Weeping Wonder. I love the foliage on this. It gets little tiny, tiny leaves that are thin, amongst the wider leaves. Those wider leaves are really what gives it its energy when it's getting the energy from the sun. This is a small weeping form of a ginkgo. So it gets beautiful yellow foliage in the fall, unique form, unique leaves, a unique addition to your garden. This is another ginkgo I have in my garden, and another variegated ginkgo for you to consider for yours. This is Beijing Gold. This is a really unique variegation. It sort of changes throughout the year. It starts out the year with green with some white around the tips of the leaves. And at this time of year, you really start to see the streaking in the leaves. This is sort of a weird grower as far as form goes. It sort of stretches out and winds through the garden and does a really unique sort of form to it. One I would definitely keep in my garden, and one that'll be there for quite a while. Consider it for yours. This is another donation from Vineland Nurseries. A very interesting tree. I've never seen it before. This is a willow-leafed oak. This is a North American native, beautiful, beautiful tree. Definitely doesn't look like an oak tree. Would be a unique one for your garden, and one that a lot of people haven't seen. This is a really neat cultivar of mimosa tree, E.H. Wilson. This is the cold hardiest variety of the albizia that we have here. In the early 1920s, someone went from the Arnold Arboretum in Boston to collect seeds. This came back to Boston, and all of the plants here are now relatives of that initial plant. So E.H. Wilson was the man that went over and collected these seeds. You have an opportunity to have this plant in your garden. At night, the leaves fold up, which is really cool. It gets beautiful, beautiful pink powder puff flowers. One I would seriously consider bidding on in this auction.